A terrible signal, too weak to even recognize. A gentle collapsing, the removal of the insides. I'm touched by your bliss. I value these moments. We are older than we realize. In someone's eyes. A frequent returning and leaving unnoticed, a condition of mercy, a change in the weather, a view to remember. The center is missing. The question how the future lies in someone's eyes. The gentle collapsing of every surface. We travel on the quiet road. The Congo, Congo, Congo. Gozoia, oh, Gozoia, Gozoia, Nidazo, Gozoia, Gozoia, oh, Gozoia, Gozoia, Nidazo, Gozoia, Gozoia. Take a look at these hands. Take a look at these hands. The hand speaks. The hand of a government man. Well, I'm a tumbler. Burn other punches. All I want is to breathe. lost my ship, trying to act casual, can't stop. I might end up in the hospital, changing my shape. I feel like an accident. They're back to explain their experience. Isn't it weird? Looks too obscure to me. Wasting away. That was their policy. I'm ready to leave. I push the fact in front of me. Facts lost. Facts are never what it seems to be. tangy dingy dingy tangy tangy, so yelly yelly, tangy dingy dingy tangy tangy, so yelly yelly, so yelly yelly, so yelly yelly, tangy dingy dingy tangy tangy, so yelly yelly. She is moving by remote control, so yelly yelly, hands that move are invisible. Sometimes the world has a load of questions. Seems like the world knows nothing at all. The world is near, but it's out of reach. Some people touch it, but it can hold on. She is moving to describe the world. She has messages for everyone. She is moving by remote control. Hands that move her are invisible. Sometimes it seems that the world is wrong. She loves the world and all the people in it. She shakes them up when she starts to walk. She's only partly human being. She defines the possibilities. Holding on for an eternity. And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by. And you may ask yourself, where is that large automobile? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful house. And you may tell yourself,
almost forgot to take my mask off. Wow. Here we are. Let's see how many applause lines we can milk from this welcome. It truly feels like something of a miracle to have you all here. You look beautiful, though the lights have gone down, but masked and all, it's really amazing to be back in this room with human beings, and particularly these human beings. I'm Derek. On behalf of all of us at the Lab for Global Performance and Politics, it is such a profound joy to welcome each and every one of you to the gathering. Thank you for making the journey, so many of you, to Washington, D.C., to Georgetown, to be with us at this extraordinary and very challenging time in the world. Thank you to all of you who could not make the trip, for joining and listening from around the globe, for being interested, for wanting to connect. We at the Lab inaugurated this event exactly 3 years ago this week as the culmination of our citywide Cross Currents Festival. Our mission at the Lab is to humanize politics through performance. This year is also our 10th anniversary, although so many of the collaborative relationships here go back actually farther than that, to the opening of this building 17 years ago, when we began to host artists from around the world, many of whom are going to be part of this gathering and are here. At the core of all of our work is and has always been a deep belief in the importance of relationship building, its power over time, the power of performance to bring people together across differences, borders, and boundaries, to occasion necessary conversations about difficult issues, and especially right now, to offer an antidote to isolation, aloneness, the deep hunger for community and connection so many of us feel and have been feeling. It matters to gather right now, and we so appreciate that you have, that you are. One function of this welcome invocation this afternoon that we hope will continue over the next 4 days as we gather in this particular place at this particular moment is to celebrate and to take notice of the quite extraordinary, miraculous fact that we are indeed here, to breathe in together, to share art and food, to offer acknowledgments, opportunities to learn about what we do not know or understand, to take stock of ongoing reckonings in our world, to listen deeply, and to imagine together pathways to repair and recovery. With us here and expected to join us over these 4 days are dear friends from Armenia, Belarus, Canada, China, Colombia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Germany, Hungary, Iran, Italy, Japan, Kenya, Lebanon, Mexico, Pakistan, Palestine, Philippines, Poland, Russia, Rwanda, Somalia, South Africa, Sudan, Sweden, the UK, Ukraine, Venezuela, Vietnam, Zimbabwe, and across the United States, and more. I'm certain I missed somewhere, and someone will say to me in the lobby, and that's great. We're also exceptionally honored and grateful today, in partnership with our incredible new colleague, Anita Gonzalez, co-founder of the Racial Justice Institute at Georgetown, to be welcoming friends from the Anishinaabe Theater Exchange, who will perform later today, as well as Indigenous colleagues from Mexico in tonight's performance of Andares, which will happen at 8 p.m. tonight, to be sharing their extraordinary work and perspectives with us. Over these past several years, since she first came here in her 60s as an undergraduate student, we've also been deeply privileged to work closely day in and day out with our community engagement associate, Melisande Short-Colombe, a descendant of the 1838 sale of more than 272 enslaved persons owned by the Jesuits, which helped to keep the university afloat. Her celebrated performance of Here I Am will be excerpted as part of our 10th anniversary celebration, Performing Dangerously, here on Friday evening, and we are honored through her to be part of the necessary work of reckoning happening right here at Georgetown and its own fraught history. At this first gathering 3 years ago this week, we hosted hundreds of artists and beautiful humans from more than 40 countries. It really exceeded our loftiest expectations. We didn't know what it would be. What was most indelible for us was the sense of joy and connection that emanated from it. People referred to it not so much as a conference or a convening or an industry-oriented event, not at all as a summit or a retreat, but kind of like a global theater wedding. And so we wanted again, and we'll begin this evening, to invite you to break bread and have meals together over the next few days in the Harbin tent behind the building. We trust, again, this will serve as a celebratory space where many, many new friendships and collaborations will be formed, as well as old ones renewed. With the support of partners, important partners from the Ravada Foundation, of the Logan family, and the Mellon Foundation, we had committed then that this event would be biennial, every 2 years. Of course, none of us could have imagined then how everything that we hold most dear, the ability to come together in real time and space, in the flesh, to exchange, to share work, to rub shoulders, to commune, to witness, to breathe the same air, would be so fundamentally rocked on its side. The lifeblood of the lab are our amazing students, many of whom are here and who you will meet over these next few days, and our global lab fellows. Since we last gathered, we have welcomed 2 extraordinary new cohorts of fellows, in addition to the inaugural fellows who were part of that gathering. So there are now 30 extraordinarily inspiring artists and changemakers from around the world, each one working in their own ways in very, very different contexts at this intersection of performance and politics and change. Due to the pandemic, many of them are meeting in person for the very first time now, after months or even years of building relationships and deep connections and friendships virtually. As we imagined what would be and what would not be possible for the gathering this time around, given all of the constraints and the uncertainty, we knew we wanted to put these amazing fellows, in particular the second cohort who joined us 2.5 years ago and whose entire experience has been so profoundly impacted by COVID, at the center of the programming. So we're so excited to be able to share with the larger lab family and with the globe what we've had a window into and a privilege into, which is the work and souls of these beautiful artists over these years. The word gather has a number of connotations. It is to come together, to assemble, as we are doing, to bring together and take in from scattered places or sources, to harvest, reap, as we will be doing, to embrace and enfold like a child in your arms, to develop a higher degree of something so as to gather speed or momentum, to gain understanding or illumination like I gather from what you are saying, to summon up, conjure, to gather thoughts, ideas, or to draw and hold together as we gather fabric. In every sense of the word, this now, at last, is our gathering. As special as it was 3 years ago, part of me feels that I didn't fully understand or appreciate what it means to gather. Some weeks ago, as our core team was in a particularly difficult logistical planning meeting, trying to push things forward with protocols and mandates and visa delays and constraints and obstacles, I broke down crying. And I honestly wasn't sure we could do this. Who can be sure of anything these days? As you all know and experience, everything is harder than it was. I said to them through tears that I worried, and I still do, that at a time that has been so difficult, we wouldn't be able to offer the same level of care to everyone, traveling from so far, committing so much to come here, that I felt was at the heart of what we do and what makes this event special and important, and that everyone, the care that everyone needs and deserves right now. But thanks to them, that team, and thanks to each of you, here we are. It is already a roller coaster ride full of surprises, adjustments, and adaptations, and it will no doubt continue to be. Any printed program you see is already probably wrong. But this incredible group of humans with whom I work kept pushing us forward. All we can do is the very, very best we can at every moment. You will hear later in the program, in this program by video, from our amazing colleague from the UK, James Thompson, who was with us last time, about his work on care. And I feel so lucky to work around a team who understand and embody so deeply what care looks like, which James reminds us is at once aesthetic and political and social and personal. We are here because of the virtuosity of these human beings on the lab team's care. One of them is the amazing colleague I have the privilege of introducing next. She's a longtime collaborator of mine, artistically, has been for more than a decade. She was at the last gathering as an attendee and a fellow artist, but has since become an essential member of our lab core leadership team, the program manager for our fellows, and much more than that, a caregiver in every way. Our resident movement artist, now a faculty member here at Georgetown, creating new courses that embody the lab's mission, such as empathy and embodiment and the body in global politics. This event would not be possible would it not be for her and the team's vision and dedication and care. So I give you now to Emma Jaster. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay like this? Yeah. Great. Yeah. I would like to invite you all to take a moment just to ground here where you are. Put your 2 feet on the floor. Put your hands somewhere where they are also connecting either to your own body or to where gravity can really impact them. And bring your breath into your body, into the miraculous moment of now, in this place. Welcome. There's so much work and effort and intention that has brought each of you to this moment and to this place. And I want to invite you all, as I am now, to take a moment to be grateful for your own effort that brought you here, for the work of those around you, your friends, colleagues, family, your own ancestors, whose life and choices have made yours possible now, and the lives of the ancestors of the people sitting around you. The person next to you, take a moment now to thank their ancestors for making it possible for you to meet them today. And the land beneath your feet, under this stage, these seats, under the foundation of this university, is the earth. We all come from many different places of the earth. And I'm grateful now for the people who have cared for this earth so that I may stand on it today. My own ancestors and the ancestors of the people of this land, ongoing caregivers. In the spirit of the global theater wedding, when I got married, I had a very wise friend tell me, throughout the day, have a buddy check in with you to say, stop, breathe, look around, because these moments, these days will be over so quickly. And I don't want any of us to miss it. So I'm going to lead you in a brief exercise, which was taught to be my teacher in India. His name is Venuji, Gopal Venu, and I studied with him in Irinyalakuda, which is in the southwestern region of India called Kerala. And this exercise is called Prassanam, which means presence. So if you will with me, just close your eyes for a moment and sit up straight with your spine long so there is room in your body for your spirit to flow easily through it. Take a breath just to bring it into the body. And now, hear your favorite music or your favorite sound. Let it fill your auditory imagination. Let it fill your body. Could be a favorite song or singer or instrument. Could be the voice of a loved one or the call of the birds. But bring that sound into your being. And now bring that song, that sound into your breath. So you are breathing with the music. Keeping the song alive in your breath. Add to your breath, on your inhale, your favorite smell. Maybe it's a place, a person, a plant, a food. Your favorite smell, and let it fill your body with each inhale. And now in your mind's eye, see one of your favorite sights. The place, the vision, the person, the thing you want so much to see, you love to see, and your desire to see it so much, you can open your eyes to see it before you. And let it be alive in the space before you. Inhaling your favorite fragrance, breathing your favorite song, seeing the sight before you. And now, on the tip of your tongue, your favorite taste. And just enjoy that taste on the tip of your tongue. possibly a sensation on the skin? Is it a warm breeze, gentle rain, a touch? And as you breathe, just move between these senses. Let them all be present in you. The music, the fragrance, the sight, the taste, the touch. May you bring all of that pleasure and joy to our time together and to the people you meet. And may you see in each of them the fullness of their presence, their pleasures, their joy. Welcome. I now have the great pleasure of introducing a new colleague who I am so delighted to know. Shelbi Nahwilet Meissner is a professor of Indigenous philosophies here at Georgetown University. And I have only known Shelbi this year, but I already know through her creativity, her generosity of spirit, and the ever blossoming of her heart, that she is very much of this family. So I am so glad to have you with us today. Thank you and welcome, Professor Shelbi Nahwilet Meissner.
Miyuyam, notong Shelbi Nahwilet Meissner yaka, no onatach Payómkawichum, no piwi no yopo kanesh malchokya paonganeshkin, no on shishavet ipit, alkan Washington DC nga, Piscataway nga, and Akashta nga. Hi everyone. This is the part of the programming where you might expect to hear land acknowledgement, drawing your attention to the fact that this is Indigenous land, colonially occupied by the United States. Some communities who claim this land are the Piscataway and Anacostan peoples, and there are ongoing conversations here at Georgetown about how best to acknowledge Indigenous land in ways that are meaningful, that affect the lived realities of actual Indigenous peoples. I invite you to participate in a pilot session of our land acknowledgement process that is being hosted here at the gathering tomorrow morning. As we focus on meaningful forms of recognition and relationship building, I'd like to acknowledge that Georgetown and many institutions like it are part of a long legacy of education that has been weaponized against Indigenous communities. Father Andrew White, whose name is on campus buildings, for example, is a founding father of the Jesuit colony and also founded one of the first Indian boarding schools in what eventually would become the so-called United States. These boarding schools and their federal counterparts have a long legacy today in the US and Canada that manifest in traumas many of us and our families carry with us in our hearts, especially heavily on our mind as Secretary of the Interior Deb Haaland wraps up the first federal investigation into federal complicity in the massive violence against Indigenous children that masqueraded as schooling for so many generations. Today, I'd like to offer a song that honors Indigenous children who have walked on and those we continue to carry on our Indigenous stories into the future. The words to this song, roughly, it's in my language, which is Atachom Pontela, or the Luiseño language that comes all the way from Southern California. The words in this song roughly translate to, I pray that you are able to know the stars and that in these stars, you can hear your ancestors' voices.
before. This is now a video from our colleague James Thompson in the UK, Manchester, so I think it's queuing up. So here we go.
Hello, my name is James Thompson, and I'm speaking to you today from Manchester in the UK. I'm really sorry that I'm not there in person, and I wish I was at the gathering this year. I attended in 2019 and had a fantastic time meeting people, seeing panels, seeing amazing performances. Unfortunately, I can't be with my lab family this year because my daughter is 9 months pregnant and we're waiting with bated breath here in the UK for news of our first grandchild. So rather than being there in person, I wanted to speak a little bit about a subject I spoke about last time in 2019, and that's the idea of care. Of course, care has become even more important in light of the terrible devastation brought about by the global pandemic. And that's the topic of my talk today. I'm going to read this, and of course, if you have any questions, sadly I can't take them in person, but I'm happy for people to correspond with me directly about the ideas. The piece is called Care is Where It Is At. Care is where it is at. Care isn't a thing, an idea, it's an act. Each one of us here appears in our world because of the care of another and many others. Sundus Abdul Hadi writes, "If the counter-narrative to violence is care, then that's where you'll find me. Care is where it is at." We don't ignore violence, discrimination, inequality by talking of care. We reach out to craft the networks of solidarity that might, just might, offer a bulwark against those careless forms of life. Some might say care is only ever a site of limitation, paternal, charitable, inequitable. Yes, it can be. But if the narrative of success is too often plotted with individuals independent and self-centered, give me interdependence, collaboration, and leaning on others any day. Care might be distributed poorly. Care might be enacted weakly. Care might be delegated unfairly. But don't blame care. Care can be shared. Care can be acted with immense beauty. Care can be a work of virtuosity. A poem. Roger Robinson is a poet who lives and works between London and Trinidad. His poetry collection, A Portable Paradise, won the 2020 T.S. Eliot Prize. It is both affirming about the endurance of a Black British experience, a blast against the iniquities of events like the Grenfell Tower disaster, and a moving account of moments of care. His poem Grace, in the collection, has been called by him in public readings a love letter to the National Health Service and its nurses. And it tells the story of the care for his premature son by a particular Jamaican nurse. These are the final two stanzas. Another consultant tells the nurses to stop feeding a baby who will soon die. And she commands her loyal nurses to feed him. No baby must dead with a hungry belly. And she'd sit in the dark, rocking that well-fed baby. Held to her bosom, slowly humming the melody of Happy, Happy by Pharrell. And I think, if by some chance I'm not here and my son's life should flicker, then Grace, she should be the one. Grace is a poem about care, but it is also an artwork about the art of care. Grace holds, rocks, and sings. The poem is quietly noting and celebrating the aesthetics of her caring practice. She demonstrates an attention to her charge, a precision of movement, and shows her profound understanding of the intimate relation between music and comfort. Care is poorly distributed, rewarded, and valued. But poems such as Grace are part of a project to bring recognition to the astounding craft by which it is often executed. A chapter. In 2020, the Boston Review brought out the collection called The Politics of Care from COVID-19 to Black Lives Matter, edited by Deborah Chasman and Joshua Cohen. It makes the argument that the greatest social crisis of a generation, which we're currently living through, needs a new kind of politics, and that is, according to them, a politics of care. One chapter is written by activist and former editor of Boston's Gay Community News, Amy Hoffman. I choose this chapter, poignantly titled Love One Another or Die, to point to the importance of recognizing the different ways that care is both written about and materializes in people's lives. Her writing takes us through stories of public campaigning and personal caring, particularly of friends with HIV and AIDS. She documents the movement as it shifted from the lesbian and gay community to the broader LGBTQ+ and queer politics of more recent years. When we focus on today's pandemic and discuss the extraordinary impact it's had on many people, we should not forget that for certain communities, a pandemic and a crisis of care is not a new thing. Hoffman writes that living through today's terrifying pandemic has given her time to, and I quote, reflect on the early days of queer liberation and that other pandemic. As Hoffman tells the story of persuading people not to wear gloves when meeting people with AIDS, we see love and care as part of the struggle against homophobia and injustice. And importantly, the look and feel of wearing gloves compared to caring for someone without them produces a different sensation, a different aesthetic of that care. The practice of caring intimately for your friends was, for Hoffman, part of what it was like to live as a community under siege, and gay liberation, for her, was marked by, and I quote, how we rose to the challenge of caring for one another. We therefore place ourselves in a tradition that sees care as connected to broader politics and cannot be relegated to an activity of a disconnected, private realm. Who we care for, how we care for them, and what motivates that care cannot be detached from a wider politics that struggles against discrimination and cruelty. The act of care for others and accepting our need to be cared for are part of the way we meet the challenges of different forms of injustice. There have been many pandemics. Indigenous leader Payómkawichum of the Kúupangaxwichem people from the Xingut indigenous territory of the Amazon region, responded to a question about what he thought of the pandemic in the early days of the COVID crisis by asking, which one? There are other pandemics. Care cannot escape its histories and the terrifying legacies of its absence. An anecdote, a poem, and a chapter. Exploration of how the arts care, and care has a certain artistry. Gatherings are times when we should not distinguish one from the other. care is where you'll find me. Care is where it is at. Thank you. Hello, my name is James Thompson.
Hello. Oh, that's very sweet. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Cynthia Schneider, the co-director of the lab with Derek. And it is my great pleasure this afternoon to introduce to you our next speaker, our dear friend and close colleague, Azar Nafisi. You will know Azar from her bestseller, Reading Lolita in Tehran, translated into more than 30 languages. This book, published 15 years ago, has never been more relevant. In it, Azar recounts her journey with a group of young Iranian women as she introduces them to art, to fiction, to stories. And this experience opens up their imaginations, and with that, their capacity for independent thought, which the Islamic regime of Iran was doing its best to suppress. Because totalitarian regimes fear, above all else, imagination and independent thought. And Azar, in these meetings with these young women, awakened in each one of them a little revolution. And isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what we're all trying to do with our work, with our lives? Awaken in our audiences, in the people we meet, just a little revolution. So I wish all of you a few little revolutions over the next 4 days. Our relationship with Azar includes several collaborations. Her next book, Republics of Imagination, inspired one of the most memorable events of the last Cross Currents Festival, when Azar and Derek together brought that book, which looks at America through the eyes of fiction, to life through some extraordinary performances. And Azar's most recent book, Read Dangerously, is the inspiration for our 10th anniversary celebration Friday night, Performing Dangerously. Azar will be with us then, and I hope all of you will also. And of course, Azar was part of the invocation at our last gathering, the inaugural gathering. So welcome, Azar. I honestly can't imagine doing this without you.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh my God, this is a disaster. But it's also an omen. I mean, something is gonna change, right? We won't need our masks anymore. Well, it is an absolute pleasure and honor to be here today, sharing with you and celebrating with you imagination and ideas. I was thinking, since this is the kind of meeting where water can be turned into wine, I would like to raise my container of water turned into wine to our dear, dear friends and colleagues at the lab and this gathering. So here's to you, Derek, Cynthia, Emma, all of you. Yummy, as my grandchild would say. Well, I was thinking today, this morning, as I was coming to Georgetown, I kept thinking about this meeting, and I thought one of the most important things about this gathering is the fact that it defies and transcends certain limitations that reality inevitably imposes upon all of us. There are in so many ways that we have no control. We don't choose where we're born. We don't choose our name, the language we begin to speak. And then there are things that we do choose. And imagination and ideas, one thing about them is that they transcend the limitations of nationality, language, gender, race, religion, and ethnicity. They are based on two very human and humane traits, which is curiosity. And I always remember Vladimir Nabokov talking about curiosity being insubordination in its purest form. Because, you know, it not only criticizes or investigates those without, but also it goes within, and there is a change from within. Without curiosity, we would not have humanities and arts. Without curiosity, we would not have science and technology. It is this desire to come out of yourself and to know the unknown that makes it so important, and that makes something, an entity like the lab and this gathering so important to all of us and around the world, actually. So I was thinking today, here we are in a world which is on one hand being devastated by wars and by totalitarian regimes. There are jails and murders, and every time you turn the news on, you despair almost. And in democracies, one of the things that you see these totalitarian trends, what Saul Bellow talked about, what threatens the democracies is their sleeping consciousness and atrophy of feeling. And this is what we are facing today in this country and around the world. And one way of confronting this sleeping consciousness and atrophy of feeling is to feel, and feel again. And an image comes to my mind. I don't know if you remember it. There's this young, lone woman sitting on a chair in a town in Ukraine. All around her, there's ruin and rubble and death. And she is playing her cello. Against the noise of the rockets and the bombs, there comes the music. And the music reminds us that everything is fickle, life is fickle, and it will go away. But what would remain, what is enduring, is this kind of achievement. For, you know, the cello does not save the young woman from the death and carnage that is all. Okay, I'm really going by omens, and I don't know what that meant. Thank you so much. This is dangerous. Put it down. Performing dangerously. That is, so when the question is, why is it that under the most extreme conditions, in gulags and in concentration camps, when we have lost all hope, not just of, about ourselves, but of humanity itself, when we are at death's door, why is it that so many turn to works of imagination, to remembering stories, paintings, performing, or remembering music? It is because when you despair, when every act is so heinous that you cannot even imagine it, we instinctively turn to what celebrates life, we instinctively turn to what reminds us of our humanity, and we go towards those achievements of humanity that celebrate the individual, that give us back our worth and our dignity. And that is why that cello is so important. And that is why today I wanted to share with you a video. It is a group of young Iranians in the Islamic Republic dancing to Will Ferrell's Happy. Now, it might not, say, okay, we dance to Will Ferrell's Happy every day, but this is a different kind of dance. And in order to create a context for you, I just wanted to say a few things about how literature and art are surviving under the Islamic Republic of Iran. So imagine living in Islamic Republic. The first things the Islamic regime did, like any other totalitarian regime, was target women, minorities, and culture. These are always the targets of the totalitarian mindsets. Over here, the same is true, right now as we speak. For example, they lowered the age of marriage for females from 18 to 9. If that is our culture, then slavery and burning witches is the culture of this country. They brought the never implemented punishment of stoning people to death for what they called adultery and prostitution. They made the veil mandatory, therefore depriving it of its religious meaning. And we had jail sentences. Right now, as I speak, at least 2 women are sentenced to 16 years in jail for not wearing the veil, and 86 lashes. So, and in terms of culture, you would be interested to know that the chief censor for theater for a long time was blind, literally blind. He would tell the playwrights and the scriptwriters to tape their script and read it without any emotion, without any dramatization, and he would then censor the play. Sir Laurence Olivier's Othello, Desdemona was cut from most scenes, and Othello's suicide was also cut because the masses will be depressed to watch Othello, Sir Laurence Olivier committing suicide on screen. It reminds me of Soviet Union when they cut the death of the swan in Swan Lake because the masses would be depressed to see the swan die. This is absurdity that we live in, and yet these absurdities are reality. So we both laugh at it, and it is very tragic. So to make a long story short, I have to say this one. They cut olive oil from most episodes of Popeye because olive oil is a loose woman, and she is not married to Popeye. I mean, can you imagine what kind of a mindset sits there and does this kind of a thing? And so, anyway, they forbid, of course, many books, and they forbade dancing. So these young group of people, women without the hijab, dancing with men who are not their husbands or their fathers or their brothers, and dancing in itself, all of this is illegal. That is how Iranian people resist this regime, by reading the forbidden books, listening to forbidden music, watching the forbidden videos, and performing dangerously. So these young people, right after they had their video put online, they were arrested and sentenced to both jail and 91 lashes. The video went viral. There was a lot of backlash from the international community, including from Will Ferrell, who objected and protested what they did. So they suspended the sentence, which goes to show sometimes supporting the human rights in these countries does work. So here's a bit of happy to celebrate.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go! Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel.
Thank you, Azar. So inspiring as always. I don't know who the best listeners are, but it's not every gathering that gets in 2 references to Pharrell Williams' Happy and 1 without, there was no coordination on that actually between James and Azar, so I think something is in the air there. I just want to really briefly introduce our next speaker, invoker, who is like the oldest, dearest friend of the lab and one of the ones who has come the furthest, flying from Khartoum. He's and someone who we've worked with since long before there was the lab. He is UNESCO Ambassador for Peace, Vice President and General Secretary of International Theater Institute, the founder of Abu Ghah Theater and Festival, an extraordinary and completely unique convergence of humanitarian and artistic efforts that has had a massive impact all over the world. He's visited with us many, many times at Georgetown. He's led workshops with students. We've created projects together. And when I have to say that when he, as he does, reached out and said, I'm coming, like it's being arranged, and when we got the visa and all that was taken care of, that the gathering was actually going to happen, that some majesty was in the air. So please welcome our dear, dear friend, Ali Mahdi.
السلام عليكم. Thanks, my dear. Thanks for all of you. I really have a very great relation with this place. I mean, the university, the lab, the faculty of art and performance art. I've been here many times, enjoying I'm not coming as a teacher, but as a student, because the student here teach you how can we release the art from inside. Gathering means we are here. We're thinking of how we come here. 2 years ago, we are here. It was different. In my capacity as an actor, I'm an actor actually. This is my professional. It is in my passport. It was the first time in the passport in my country they written in the job, actor. It was a little difficult at that time. What's the meaning of actor? How can you, this is your profession? I said, yes, sir, I am an actor. So, but later it becomes a different thing, but it's still inside me, I'm an actor. Anytime I feel that acting is something very special, not easy for anybody, but we are leading the world by art, performance art. I think we have some light to put it on some difficulties. This is why I work very hard in theater in conflict zone. That was a very interesting initiative where we're using the performance art in building the community peace fairies, try to solve the problem between the tribes that happen in my country, in the south of Sudan. Now it's a big country called South Sudan. And in other African countries, you know how they are suffering from the difficulties. Let us say difficulties, not say a war. A war is a big word. Nobody accepts it, but it is. So in the last time, we pray. I keep praying 2 years to come back here. And I believe he accepting my prayer. So pray means also a sort of performance. We ask, how can we come together? What is the result of sitting together? I'm so happy to listen to this very different experience. It's not only experience, it is also the result of working day by day as an artist among the people. Our work is not only on the stage. This is why when I start doing my performance, I took the group to the desert, to the tribes, to the villages, whatever it is, and I call it theater for people. We should take the theater. This is, of course, theatrically is not completely correct, but you can imagine a village suffering from the war, from fighting each other, and they enjoy 1 hour dancing and singing and whatever it is, the performance look. And I believe in one place, the performance continue for 5 hours. All the people are part of the we are leading the performance, but after 1 hour, we are nearly to be audience because they are inside, because we bring to them their culture, their traditions. So I think gathering means not only to come together from far away, but to see the result. I'm quite sure in 2019, when I go back, I go with a very strong feeling to continue. And I continue in my age. I am 70, just 2 weeks ago. But I will keep dancing until the morning. I think so. We can't. So this is art. This is art. So let us try to pray together. If you don't mind, can we stand up, please? Please. Although, yes, please. I didn't say it, but you know what I mean. And let us think about how we can help each other first and help the others. So I will say something, I'm quite sure you accept it, and say Amin. You can say Amin in different language. It means please, yes. So I hope this gathering is going as planned from our brother and sister. Amen. And I hope the result is helping all the people to bring peace to everybody. Amen. And I hope the artists in this university, in the lab, around the world, can do better and better for the future. Amen. And I hope we can help the world for peace and peace and peace. Amen. Thank you.
No introduction I've made, I feel like in the 10 years of the lab, makes me happier than this one. This is a relatively new member of our lab family who many of you have met already, and if you haven't, you're about to and will continue to. Just a few months ago, we welcomed a new general manager and associate producer, and she is an extraordinary human being. She is a huge part of why we are able to be here. Would not be possible without her. I want to introduce her to you. She is an amazing person and kind of grace incarnate, and has made so much happen for us. And she is just like so much an embodiment of everything that we are. Ursian Francois. I'll tell you a little bit about her, and she's a native of Trinidad and Tobago. She calls herself, and I can, it's just perfectly put, a creative solution seeker and arts advocate. I can tell you that she has been seeking creative solutions on many fronts, and including working the bureaucracy that she's inherited here at Georgetown, but in so many ways, and does it with such extraordinary creativity and grace. She comes to us from the opera world. She was involved with the acclaimed family program Opera Starts and with Opera Lafayette as part of their community partnerships as engagement manager. She collaborated there with Folger, with the Avalon Theater. She was in Paris for quite a while. She got her master's in music administration and management there from Sorbonne, and there worked with the choir and orchestra for Sorbonne University's many other projects. She has a background as a performer, as well as a arts administrator in France, in the US, in the UAE. And I really can't say enough. Coming in, we had no one in this role. We had really no full-time staff for a lot of the pandemic. And she came, and we were already in the process of beginning to try to think about what this would be. And she has just been the most extraordinary, generous, patient, imaginative person. And I just am so excited that at this gathering we have an Ursian. So here she is.
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to say what I've been saying to all of my colleagues all day. It's that we're here, we're doing it, it's happening. I think I started preparing something for today, and then I stopped myself because I realized that I would just riff off of everybody else who would have spoken before me, because I knew, just like in my time here with the lab so far, that I would have learned so much, and it would have completely changed what I wanted to say. And so said, so done. As Derek mentioned, I've been with the lab for like 6.5 months now. I still say that I'm new so that I can make some of those solutions happen, those creative solutions. But in my time here, I've learned so much, and I'm just really grateful to be a part of this team, to be a part of this event. In some ways, I hear about the gathering in 2019, and I'm envious. But in other ways, I'm not, because I felt like it gave us the freedom, me the freedom, to envision a new type of gathering and a new type of event, and not attach any kind of expectations around it, because what we are living through now, and I know we're all tired of hearing this, is unprecedented times. And so for unprecedented times, we need an unprecedented event. And I think that's exactly what we're gathering to do here these next 4 days. I just want to thank everyone for making the effort, because I know now it's an effort. It's risk management. It's communicating with your family and letting them know what you're doing, and just hoping everyone agrees. Thank you for trusting us with your health, with your creativity, for being open, and we're just so grateful to have you with us here. I just want to take some time to say that while I may be the only full-time staff member at the lab currently, it takes a village for this to happen. And so I just wanted to take some time to acknowledge some of my colleagues who have not been on stage yet today, but whom you will meet throughout the course of these next 4 days. Derek already invoked Melisandre Colomb, who is our Community Engagement Associate. We have, I'm not sure that she's able to be with us today, but will be later on this afternoon, Ijoma Njaka, who is our Inclusive Pedagogy Specialist. No, okay. We also have out front, you might have met Jameson and Will. I don't know if they're here with us right now, but they are our student fellows coordinators. So really grateful for them. And then like some of the newest additions for the gathering, our production manager, Victoria Shushman, who are just so grateful to work with and has helped us really bridge this, it's not really a gap, but make the two worlds collide of in-person and virtual. And I hope that you will take the time throughout the course of these 4 days to interact with our portal and our newly launched website. And as Derek said, we're updating things as situations change, but sometimes, just maybe ask a question if you're not sure if it's up to date. But I just want to thank you all again for being here. Thank you to everyone else on our team who has made today possible. I'm sorry if I didn't call your name. It's just a really long list. But thank you so much for being here. And I now have the pleasure of inviting to the stage Manuel Viveros, who is part of our inaugural Global Lab Fellows cohort. Manuel is an actor and director who is currently based in New York, and will be coming to the stage now to share with us a little bit about his experience, and then talk about his involvement at the gathering moving forward. So thank you so much, Manuel, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Hello. Hi. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thanks to you all for be here, for come. Okay, I just want to share some of our Afro-Colombian experience, and I would like to invite my colleague Mauricio Nieto, which is the musician who will be with me this week. We will do a workshop on Saturday. This is the first part. Okay, let me do it this way. It's easy. Okay, just please stand up. We have a play in the West Coast in Colombia, and also that is connected with the West Coast, with the coast in Ecuador and Peru, which is called El Florón. It's based on the experience when your grandma give you something important. Sometimes it's money, yes, and give you very, very, like hide the treasure that they give you. So please do this. But today, my plan is just the treasure that we're going to share each other is light. So at the gathering, take my light with you. So this is the movement. Wait a minute. I'm going to give the light to Mauricio. So at the gathering, take my light with you. That's it? And you can share with them the trumpets. So because now we're going to do with music, okay? So at the gathering, take my light with you. Yeah. Give the light to the person next to you. Yeah, take my light with you. Give the light. Give it. Yeah, Derek, please. Give the light. Okay, awesome. Great. You got it. Okay. So, good, right? called El Florón, which is the thing that people give you. And I would like to, at the first part of the song, please you answer me, which is por el callejón. Can we? Yeah. Por el a sound. El callejón. Yeah, por el callejón. How do you say it? Okay, if I say, ¿dónde está el florón? Okay, sí. Por el callejón, ¿dónde está el florón? Por el callejón. ¿Dónde está el florón? Por el callejón. At the gathering. Por el callejón. Take my life with you. You got it. Yeah? So, let's stand together, right? Do it. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to introduce a few of the newest cohort of fellows. We have 3 cohorts of fellows now. And we have the pleasure of having 8 of them here with us in person over the next 4 days. And I think of those 8, 6 of you now are going to demonstrate for the group hopeful encounters. So this is an activity that you will all get to do together after our short break. But before we send you into these different spaces to do it together, we'll have some of the fellows come and show you. And it's just a way to meet each other. Because I am up here on stage now,
But I am no more important or interesting than all of the beautiful people here, and I want us all to have a chance to hear a little bit about each other. So may I have the 6 fellows who are ready to... Oh! Yes, come. And can we have 2 chairs? Thank you so very much. You go without me, you can go. You and whoever's next. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so very much, Emma. Thank you. It's really very nice and special to be here in that amazing gathering with you all. So I would like to request you to come. We would like to know who you are. Can you please tell us who you are?
Yes, that is a really scary question, but my name is Ifra, and I really hope to be a kind person.
Thank you, Ifra. What do you do?
I am a story maker, and I like to make stories that make the world kinder.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So, Ifra, what things bring you hope in this life? Or in that gathering, maybe?
Yeah. The moon brings me a lot of hope. Memories of my grandmother, who was a farmer, brings me a lot of hope. And she would always stop everything to say, hey, look, the moon, the moon. I just love that. And I do that to people. So if I see the moon, I'll say, hey, look, the moon.
Yeah. Beautiful. So are we demonstrating for 1 minute or 3?
I believe we're doing 1 minute, and then Sonia's going to tell us how.
Time's up. We will only have 3 minutes per person, so we have to be quick and sharp.
Yeah, we're done with one.
Here, 1 minute.
1 minute.
But 3 minutes later. Okay.
And then I get to
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Maybe I'll first, yeah.
And then Fida goes there, and then perhaps like I join. So this is what's gonna happen sort of later. So we're doing like a dress rehearsal of some sort.
Yes, with you.
With you.
A live one.
Oh yeah, so I'm now in your position. I'm gonna ask you questions. Hello.
Hi, salam.
Assuming that I don't know your name.
Okay.
Can you tell us your name and a bit of story about that?
Okay, I am Fida Atay. I come from Palestine, and I am a storyteller. I do tell just great stories sometimes.
You create stories.
Great, crazy, could be hidden.
Crazy stories.
Yes.
So, what else are you doing in Palestine? Can you tell us more?
No more than telling stories.
Yeah. So, what gives you hope, Fida?
Things give me hope is that when I see the strength of the olive tree under the earth, and the warmth from the sun, and the sound of kids, and that gathering here with everyone.
And your time is up, but we will love to hear more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I go.
You go.
Okay.
I take this.
I sit with the audience.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
I am Abner Torres Divina Jr.
Junior.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I am from the Philippines.
And
Far.
Really far. And who are you, Abner? Do you know?
Difficult question.
Do you know who you are?
I've been working to know myself all my life. Artwheel. I think I am here in this context
part of weaving cultures from different, homes and spaces and countries. So back in the Philippines, I would be doing artistic leadership work, directing, producing, performing, and leading a multi-arts collective of artist leaders.
And what brings you hope?
In this very moment, the very idea that we're here now.
Yes. Great, we will have to wait to hear more about what brings you hope later.
And that's what's going to happen.
You're getting the idea, right?
And then?
Well, one last demonstration. So, 2 questions. Who are you and what brings you hope, basically, right? Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Will you please share us with all of us your name, how you pronounce it,
Yeah.
and tell us who you are?
Yes, my name is Sebastián in Spanish. I am Venezuelan, but I live in Mexico City. And, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, and a director.
Okay. Sebastián, and what makes you feel hopeful?
People who cares. That's it. I'm very hopeful to share with you that you devote your life to make a change through theater. This is something that is touching. I'm really hopeful for every one of you, so thank you very much.
3 seconds left.
Okay. That's it. And, she was the first, right? So to wrap it up.
And my dearest, what is your name?
My name is Sonia. My last name is Almaganyan.
Okay. Who says your name the sweetest?
My brother, I think. He has different ways of saying my name when he is in different moods and the way he approaches me.
I love that. And what do you make, or what's your passion?
My passion is love and arts. And what I make, I try to make connections by bringing together communities through arts and theater and performance and rituals and traditional practices.
I love that. And what brings you hope, Sonia?
What brings me hope when...
It's the continuation of the conversation.
To be
We'll
continued.
catch up with you in dinner.
Something like that.
Thank you. Actually, stay here so people
All
can
right.
see who you are. Thank you. I threw you into the frying pan with a sudden change in. You handled it very well. So everyone received, when you signed in today, a little card, right? Do you all have your little cards? So if you have a yellow card, will you hold it up now? If you have a yellow card, yes. If you have a yellow card, you will be meeting with, where are you?
305.
035. Okay, so if you have a yellow card, we're about to go to break. So you have to remember this for a whole 25 minutes, okay? But if you have a yellow card, you are going to be with
The name is
035, in 035, which is a classroom downstairs, okay? And if you don't know where that is, ask, and someone will help you find it. It is a bit of a maze, this building, once you leave this theater, so don't be afraid to ask for help. So if you have a yellow card, you were in 035 with Sonia and a buddy, and me. And if you have, okay, then I made a very poor choice on color, okay? Because we have a blue and a blue-green.
Where's your... This is... It's very close.
If you are not sure if you have a true blue or a blue-green, compare it with a friend, okay?
It's like this viral,
It
like...
should be yes, okay? Yeah, okay. So this one's the green.
There's
okay?
a green one.
So like pick one.
So if you have a blue up in the air? Yes. Great. If you have a blue card, yes, you are with Sebastian and Ifra in, where will you be?
Gondola.
In the Gonda. That's right here. Also in the
Gonda.
In the Gonda. So you can come right back here. That is this space. This is the Gonda.
Okay, there are the Gonda.
And us. This is the Gonda. If you have a blue card, you will come back to the Gonda at 3 o'clock. If you have a blue-green, aquamarine card, you will be in the Divine at 3 o'clock. And the Divine is the Black Box Theater, which someone will help you find if you are lost. Technically, it's on the same stage level right out that way. So if you're in the lobby when you come in the front entrance, you'll go down the stairs to the lower lobby, and that will be the Divine lobby, okay? So yellow is in 035, all the way downstairs classroom. Blue is right here in the Gonda, and blue-green aquamarine is in the Divine. And if you don't have a card, go see JT at registration. But you will all be invited to participate, because the whole point of this is to get to know each other and to share our hopes together. Thank you. Oh, Derek's going to say one more thing. Don't leave.
It just occurred to me, because we will be split into 3 places, to just orient people a little bit about the rest of the day after that, because we just so everybody is comfortable and on the same page. So from 3 to 4:30 will be these hopeful encounters in the 3 spaces, and then we try to have like real breaks where people can be outside and have air and refreshment, etc. Then from 4:30 to 5 will be a break, and then there's a performance back in this space. The Anishinaabe Theater Project will be here. That's for everybody. We want to all be together, so that will be here at 5. Then there will be a dinner break, and everyone is invited. There are no insiders and outsiders when it comes to food, which is in the Harbin tent behind the building. For those who were here last year, it's the same place. Others, you will get guided and find it. So we'll have dinner together there, and then an 8 p.m. performance back in this space again of Indari's. So just so you kind of have a sense of like what happened, we went to separate rooms. Everything after that is back in this space for the rest of the time. Friends, thank you for a beautiful invocation. Thank you, Azar. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Shelbi. Thank you, fellows. Thank you, everybody. And have a good break, and we'll see you back for Hopeful Encounters. Thanks.